Hi, I'm Tim Ard, and welcome to this edition of Along the ForestApps Road. We have a special one for you today. We're going to be chatting with David Breeden. David is the North Georgia representative for Husqvarna Power Products, and he's going to be talking to us about some things that are out there that Husqvarna has that people haven't all seen. And the other is talking about some new things coming out in 2022 that a lot of people are going to be looking for and asking about. And so David's going to be going over that with us. And please don't forget to subscribe and press that like button. Along the ForestApps Road is available on podcast as well as here on YouTube. So please check into that, tell your friends and neighbors. And I hope you enjoy this episode, and I'll check back with you after our interview with David Breeden of Husqvarna. Well, today we have a special guest, and a little bit from the past. I had to pull out my old shirt, and it's kind of wrinkled up a little bit, but very privileged to be here with an amazing guy, David Breeden with Husqvarna. He's the, the North Georgia representative. Is that correct? You cover everything from where?
Well, you're correct. I go up to the Tennessee line as on the west side of the state. I go all the way down to go to Columbus. And I go down in the center of the state, down to Perry, over east. I go up to Madison, Athens, up to Toccoa. So I don't have the entire state. It's mostly a focus on Metro Atlanta, but the metros are Atlanta and Macon, essentially, and Columbus. So, yep.
Very good. So you are more or less dealing direct with the dealers, and then also with some larger end user clients, right, for the dealers?
Yeah, so my focus is developing our independent dealer base, mainly in the metro areas, but also have a responsibility to meet and educate and create relationships with professional tree care and professional landscape maintenance contractors. So
awesome.
We have a focus in our company. We call it, Tree Care Pro, and we call it, professional landscape group. So all of the people in my role are focused on creating relationships, educating, training those people on our products.
Very good. And I know, when I was with Husqvarna, we had a team of trainers, and David was one of the top keys. He was one you could send anywhere. He knows all the product and be able to talk about it. So he's quite an asset. And, I wanted him to come by and kind of talk about some things that's new. And so he's got some items with him. But a little bit about also, what's happening as far as new things. It's there's a lot of different power equipment that's out there too. We're talking kind of about chainsaws today because that's kind of my forte. But when you start to look, Husqvarna has a huge gamut of power equipment, don't they?
Yeah, we do. It's the good and the bad. People know you for certain things. Our legacy is chainsaws, and we're very proud of that. We won't go away from that, but we're a huge factor in the professional landscape business. We have a full line of commercial zero turns and professional handheld equipment that's not chainsaws, like trimmers and blowers and hedge trimmers, anything that you need to work outdoors. And we want to be the number one preferred brand in all of those segments of our business. So that's our goal. Those are lofty expectations, but that we build the products that people want, and we build the quality that they want and deserve, and we feel like we deserve that piece of the business.
Awesome. And they do a good job with it. I know that for sure. There's every place I go, it's either Husqvarna and Husqvarna and Husqvarna, so it's
yeah.
It gets around to a lot of different areas.
Sure, yeah. And by the way, that shirt looks good on you there.
Oh, very good. It still fits. It still fits, yeah.
Great.
And, I use my 572 across the country quite a lot. So And I just noticed that you brought me something here to try out a little bit, and that's the new lightweight bars. Is that right? Tough Light?
Yeah, so we're very excited about this. These are the new X Tough Light bars. That's how they're going to be branded. We partnered with Stihl, known for making high quality bars. So we've got a weight reduction in this bar, and we've done about all that we can do to take weight out of the power head. But you don't use a chainsaw without a bar and chain. So it's equally important to create lightweight bars, but not anything that's new to the industry. Lightweight bars have been around, but you need one that has the durability that somebody expects from buying a very nice or a premium bar, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So what I like about these is obviously the lightweight and the balance, but the look. One of the things that chainsaw manufacturers are thinking about today is what their product looks like. I think Husqvarna's done a great job with the new 500 series saws, and when you match them up with this bar, it completes the look. It's like a Corvette. You walk into a Chevrolet dealership and you got a Corvette sitting in the showroom. It looks like it's going 100 miles an hour and it's not even running. So that's the way a Husqvarna chainsaw looks today.
Well, if I attach that to a new 592, would that work?
Yeah, new 592, that would work. And if you put this on a new 592,
you'd have to idle it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd have to be careful. That you need a much longer bar for a saw that powerful.
Yeah, but it fits any of the pro models.
Cool.
What about the 592? When's it coming? What's happening?
So we are expecting to launch the 592 in globally in the first quarter of 2022. I actually have a unit. We've got quite a few out in the field. You're starting to see those show up on social media in Europe now. You've got all the people, they rolled them out at the same time. It's extremely impressive. There's so much new technology in that saw. 7.6 horsepower, which it blows me away in a 93cc package. So if you're a Husqvarna user and you've ran 390s and 395s for years because those platforms are dated, much more power in a lighter weight package. Just phenomenal. I love it. If you've got the need to run 32-inch bars, 36-inch bars,
and that thing auto-tunes to basically any bar length and keeps the RPMs constant and adjusted?
Yeah, so it has auto-tune 3.0, so this is the third generation of auto-tune. And auto-tune's been around, and most people know that auto-tune, by having a microprocessor that is attached to the carburetor, will adjust fuel and air mixture based on the environment, based on altitude, based on fuel mixture, based on the condition of your air filter. So it takes a lot of data and gives that data back to you also when you want to find out things. But AutoTune 3.0 measures fuel and air mixture even more. I lose count now. When it gets up to 10 times per revolution, that is incredible with the RPMs of these saws. The biggest thing that I see with AutoTune 3.0 is that it no longer has a choke, as we call it. You take the saw, whether it's cold or hot, you put it in the start position, which is normally what we know as the choke position, and you pull the saw and it cranks and it'll actually run in that choke or start position. So it has sensors that measures whether the saw is cold or whether the saw is hot. So it automatically knows whether the fuel mixture needs to be rich or the fuel mixture needs to be lean.
So very little chance of flooding, and I don't have to carry a screwdriver anymore.
Yeah, no need for a carb screwdriver anymore. It'll do it better than you ever could, and you can't flood them, which is when I go out and I call on tree care guys, very experienced, they sometimes aren't the best at starting their saws, so as I observe, I see starting issues, and it's not, regardless of the brand, it's not specific to Husqvarna, it's other brands, and I see them pulling the saws a lot to start, and it's just their process, their technique. Saws today are running a lot leaner due to the EPA standards, and there, techniques of procedures. We could get into technique. The techniques are not always good, but the procedures need to change as the technology changes.
And very environmentally friendly. We'll move this out of the way, man. I want you to talk about that too. But what's happening on some of the new? And are they looking at like the new AutoTune 3.0? Is that going to be coming down into smaller units also? I
haven't been told that specifically. I'm very encouraged that that's going to be the way that the entire product line heads. I hope so, because that will take away some of these, starting procedure issues that I see with the end users. But I hope that carries through, and I believe that it will. That will be a game changer for us and for everybody that runs a chainsaw. It will be no more guessing.
But ultimate environment's going to be battery, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been probably 5 years ago now. We had a product manager that headed the professional chainsaw side of the business, and he was a Swede, and his name was Christian, and he's back in Sweden now, but he was telling me that we had already developed 70 and 80 cc equivalent battery chainsaws. Wow. And at the time, 372 was our 70 cc platform that's legendary. Everybody knows it, regardless of what brand you like, 372. And he said that some of the engineers would ask him to come out, meet them out at the wood pile, so to speak. And he said they had saws that were 70 cc equivalent that would cut twice as fast as a 372. The challenge was for the battery technology to catch up with that, so you had enough battery life to actually use the tool. So that stuff is coming. We have, I think in 2006 or 7, there was a press release that the current CEO of Husqvarna at the time said that we were going to invest heavily in our battery technology, and we have done that. We have really towed the line, and we've got excellent battery product on the professional side. It is unbelievable. We are, as a company, we care about the environment. We care about the people who use the product. We care about the people who are around the product, and battery product offers a lot of benefits for all of those people.
Well, I guess for years everybody thought about it, and I talk about this quite often when people bring up about battery units, and it's something that we used to think about. Everybody wanted a corded drill, and the batteries, hard to keep up with. But that's not true anymore, is it? I mean, the batteries are almost computers. They basically keep up with their charging and their rundown and all that kind of stuff. And I know I have a Tesla car, so it's something where the power and everything is unbelievable. It's quieter. It's easy to adjust and to work with. It's quite a lot of reliability that's built into the battery units now. And you've got all the safety features. I have seen, and I've had some questions with different people as far as some of the features on some of the not professionally built battery units, and that they're getting away from some of the standard safety features and things like that, like chain brakes and throttle interlocks and chain catches and that kind of stuff. no chain brake on there. There's no handguard on a lot of them, and so they're trying to get around some of the actual user-friendly safety features. And to me, that's kind of scary in my training side. I was watching a video, with little handheld pruning saw with somebody standing here going like this on a 4x4 on a presentation, and it's something that's kind of scary. But Husqvarna has the same features on here that they have on that new 592.
Correct.
So you're looking at the throttle and locks. You got a couple different modes as far as your power on the saw. So you could actually cut down at your full throttle run, or you can have a little bit higher chain speed. Batteries are very easy. You can be able to check here to see, exactly how much battery you've got. And this one's ready to go.
This one's ready.
That's full charge. And about how long are these things running now on a full charge?
Yeah, so that's the most common question you get with battery, and I go back to my days, when I worked for a guy named Tim Ard, and when you ask a question that is very difficult to answer, I usually say, can a 300-pound bear climb a 3-inch pole? And people don't understand, just like your people don't. But no, it's a great question. What I find is that a battery lasts about as long as a tank of fuel in a gas-powered saw. So we'll say we measure cut times, and it's usually 30 to 40 minutes.
That's what I get, about 35 to 40 minutes on most units.
So the battery will charge to 100% capacity in about 25 minutes. So that easily tells me that if I've got 2 batteries, then I'm never going to have to stop, working. So we with quick chargers and with an onboard cooling system in the battery, the neat things about these batteries are once that battery is completely discharged, which is as hot as the battery is going to get, you can put it on our charger and it'll immediately start charging, so it doesn't have to cool down before you start charging the battery.
That's an important feature.
Yes, it is.
Very important feature.
Yes, it is.
And so more or less you've got the ability to watch this too. I mean, so it's about every 10 minutes, something like that, is going to be your battery usage goes down. So if you've got 2 batteries, like you say, you're pretty much set to go. Yeah. And how about your oil consumption? Is it adjustable on this one?
It is, yes. It
so
sure
you've got your bar adjustment
right here from the top.
So many times people say, I want about a tank of oil, but it's I know with today's bars and you keep a good sharp chain, you might be able to go through a couple batteries if you adjust that oiler down some just to reduce that oil consumption. Correct.
The other thing about battery indicator is that you also have access to that right on the handle. Wow. So the operator is able to look at the battery life, where it's easy to see it while they're using the saw. So what's very interesting about this product, I think makes it unique, is that battery chainsaws in a traditional chainsaw where you have a standard forward and rear handle, when we come out with units that are extremely powerful, there's going to be a need for that. But today, as we see it in a top handle version, which is specific for urban tree care, pruning and doing removals, this I feel is one of the most unique products, because I don't believe this is theory by David. I think this could be proven. To build a gas-powered top-handle chainsaw is probably the most difficult chainsaw to manufacture. You've got a lot of factors there that you need to think about. You got to have power, and you got to have low weight, and you've got to have balance. And so you cannot put more displacement. You can't just increase the displacement to get more power, because you add weight and you take away some of that balance. So normally, the 2 brands that that make these professionally. They're 40 cc's. This chainsaw we bill as 40 cc equivalent, but I can promise you I've never seen a 40 cc chainsaw that generates this type of chain speed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So chain speed.
It will outcut a 40 cc chainsaw. And when I first saw this saw and I used it, I was upset that we didn't say it had 50 cc power, because that's the type of power that it has. And so I don't know that anybody will ever build a top handle in gas that will outperform this. So as we sit today, this chainsaw is creating more power. And the fact of, in a pruning situation, you prune a limb and you put this on your saddle and you climb up to your next limb that you need to prune. That could be 5 minutes, could be 10 minutes. Regardless, you're not going to let that chainsaw idle on your belt. You're going to turn that off. So then when you get back and you get lanyard in and you get set, you're having to pull and crank a saw again. One of the most frustrating things, regardless of brands, is a saw that's difficult to crank up in a tree. And so what's nice about this saw is that if you're using this, okay, and I can tell the saw is on, I disengage the chain brake and I make a cut. If I engage the chain brake again, which I should, and I hang this back on my saddle, the saw is going to stay on for 30 minutes. So I don't have to actually push the button to start. So I don't have to restart it when I reposition myself. Now, if I fail to engage the chain brake, then it's only going to stay on for 3 minutes. So it's got additional safety features built in. It says, hey, when you get through cutting, put my chain brake back on, hang it up, go up, and then I'll be ready for you when you get to the next stop. So lots of technology here and power that is unbelievable.
Now, one thing I'm always asked too with climbing or bucket saws like this is are they designed for use in one hand? And I've been amazed at the ergonomics set up on this particular saw. And you've got a lot of people that extend reach and all this kind of stuff, trying to reach different things. But with today's climbing gear and bucket abilities, you should be able to maneuver to where you can get to most of those cuts. I mean, there may be a few exceptions, but it shouldn't be a norm, because what I've noticed on this is when you've got your hand on the throttle grip and you've got your hand on the loop grip, that basically you've got equal load on your hands, and it doesn't really increase your movement as long as if you're tied in. It doesn't really increase your movement ability or your length. You can't reach any farther with the saw one-handed because your body doesn't move out of that position. But if you are free climbing, I guess, and you're kind of balancing yourself for certain situations, I could see where somebody might add a little reach to it. But you increase, because it is a chainsaw, you increase your chances of reactive forces. And it's not only, people talk about kickback, and that's something I try to get through in all the classes, is that many times it's a push or a pull that causes you to lose control, and it grabs a limb or it comes back at you very quickly or pushes a limb back at you. And so it's so important that you think about your position there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on when there's a lot of things to think about when you're operating a chainsaw on the ground. But when you get aloft, there are a lot of other things going on, and the last thing you need to do is open yourself up for any more risk or danger by operating a chainsaw one-handed. The Husqvarna as a company, we design products with safety in mind, and we certainly don't endorse or condone one-handed operation of a chainsaw. We don't make products that promote that. So the product that you mentioned earlier, a tool that basically is used for one hand to cut things, promotes you putting your other hand right beside where the chain is turning. Not, it's we want to make chainsaws with two handles.
All right. That's awesome. I'm excited to see get something a little bit, long handled and get on up into the 3.25 pitch or 3/8 pitch, hopefully with battery saws here in the future. But I'd be interested in carry that around my Tesla for sure.
Yes.
But it's something that many times because of the, I guess you'd say the reactive forces, we've got to start really looking at making sure we understand how all those safety features work. And there's also a thing that people have asked me about with electric saws and leg protection. And I know in my testing and finds over the years, when the big saws had big armatures and you plugged them into the wall, they were mostly industrial units used in either wood mill situations or some type of industrial cutting condition indoors, you couldn't slow one of those big armatures down. But as far as battery, from what I understand with the research with Husqvarna, is that pretty much the chaps of today will work pretty efficiently with the battery powered units, because you've got different drive systems that'll clog, it's kind of like a centrifugal clutch. It's not electric, but it's got kind of like a centrifugal clutch, so that it kind of kills the power to the armature. So as soon as you get so much resistance, that's one big thing that how jamming works with chaps in a gas powered saw. That no matter how big it is, that clutch starts to slip. So in this case here, you've got an electronic system that when you get so much resistance on the chain, when it pinches or it hits something, it starts to bind, it gives up.
Yeah, I can't, tell you, technically how all of that works, but we do, say that when you wear our chaps with our battery powered chainsaws, that is adequate leg protection. What you notice with these saws is, as you said, the motor will actually lose power. Mm-hmm. It'll stop. So you can do that in a cut if you try to overpower the chainsaw.
Right.
The motor will lose power. So chain literally stops turning. So anytime anything is jammed up or there's enough resistance on the chain, the chain will stop.
And all you have in these, you get a much smaller armature weight than you had on the others, and more or less you don't have a flywheel. So you've got a situation, not much momentum is going there. And I've tried 2 or 3 different saws at different power companies and stuff. We've done it on different classes, and so far I haven't. With 2 or 3 different brands on the battery powers, I haven't had anything cut through the chap. And so that's not a very scientific test, but it is one that's kind of real life. And so I'm pleased that guys getting into the battery stuff really don't have too much to worry about, other than the same thing they would with a gasoline saw, keep it away from body parts.
Yeah, and I'm somewhat surprised, but in the United States, if you're a loft, there is no leg protection standard, up in a tree. Mm-hmm. So it's typical. I never see guys that are working a loft, using leg protection. Usually, the municipalities and they require leg protection no matter if you're working in a bucket. Yeah. And so that's good. I like that. I certainly endorse that. But the question I get, and I appreciate you doing that testing, even in one-off situations, because I did some training earlier in this year with Central Georgia EMC. They're down in Jackson, and I was talking battery, and they were very interested in whether or not chaps would work, and that's a common question with them, and they'd like to see some data, and there's not much out there, but people I think can have peace of mind knowing that you should be okay, and it doesn't take away the obligation to have your people trained, because that at the end of the day is the most powerful thing you can do.
Well, leg protection, whether it be pants or chaps, still offers more than blue jeans or cotton work pants. And like I used to tell the guys for years, that, they say, well, I don't like all those straps and all that kind of stuff. And now you can get pants pretty well anywhere. But it's something where, I don't want to put chaps on. I get straps and they get hung up and all this. And we have some of that with chipper operation too. But I said, what's the alternative? Well, I get up there and it caused me to fall out or get hurt or whatever. I said, well, you get up there and you get hung up and then you cut your leg, which is worse on top of that. Now you're going to fall out of the tree, with a cut leg.
Right.
So it's something to where today's garments, whether it be chaps or whether it be pants, it offers some cheapest insurance that you can possibly get for chainsaw operation. It's common sense. That's all there is to it. But, still the number one thing, and that's what I want us to kind of finish up with here a little bit today, is thinking through the number one injury out there when it comes to logging, tree care, firewood, hunting, is struck bys.
Yes.
And, protecting your head is something that's so important. And Husqvarna's got 2 or 3 different units here. And I guess you kind of have this set up for, you do a little bit of videoing as you climb, but you don't have the hearing protection on this. So you're using either a very quiet electric saw or you've got plugs on doing that. But a lot of the climbers don't like the ears sticking out or whatever. Plus, it's back and forth. Although, do you have a sound system available for these now? I've seen some on the market. But,
we do not offer anything like that as an accessory. I'm on a committee inside of our company that looks at accessories that we can offer. So I get asked a lot about what's sought after, what they're actually using. Mm-hmm. So I offer my input on that. This is a Kask helmet. Kask is a recognizable brand in arboriculture. One of the things that we've been doing is, it takes a lot of money and time to go out and develop your own products. And we're not in the helmet business. We sell helmets, but we don't manufacture them. So you go out and you partner up with someone like Kask who has a good understanding of what the end user wants. Mm-hmm. And we have our branding on it. Once again, it looks really nice. We offer it with 3 different eye shields.
So you got different tints. All the shields are the same length.
They're all the same size. There's a clear, there's an amber, and then there's a smoke color or mirrored, as we call it. Mm-hmm. And you can get full face shields for Kask helmets because what's the interesting thing, the reason that I use this specifically for climbing and I keep it in my climbing bag is because when I go on a tree job and I'm pulling brush to the chipper, you're not going to see me at a chipper wearing this helmet. Right. I want my face covered because it's a good way to,
keep limbs and chips from flying.
Correct. So, anybody who operates a chipper knows that that's there's a lot going on there. You can easily get slapped in the face, but so yeah, the GoPro attachment is obviously not standard, but there's muff style hearing protection that would slide in here that I keep in the bag. So if I am running a gas powered saw on a tree, I can have the appropriate hearing protection. When I'm using battery, not as big of a deal. This is the vented version of this helmet. We also offer it in a non-vented version for if you're working around electrical power lines and things like that, which is the standard. But you mentioned struck bys. I've had 2 situations on tree jobs just this year where if I did not have my head protection on, I'm not sure what the outcome would have been. Mm-hmm. And it was, it just happens. Trees go down and you have dead hangers or dead limbs in other trees that they pass. And when they pass those things can come down. And, it's one of the, you got a lot of things going on, but you certainly have to pay attention to what's happening overhead when the tree comes down. And so, head protection is so important may not be the most frequent of injuries, but they certainly do the most damage, and they cost the most money.
Right. Well, David, I just appreciate you taking the time today, and it's something to where when you start to look at chainsaws, it's an evolving market, and it's a lot of new things that's come about, especially from the climbing side, the battery saws and all. But it comes back to making wood into chips, doesn't it?
That's correct.
And so sharpening and keeping your saw maintained, making sure you protect yourself, that's all stuff that Husqvarna keys in on. And I just appreciate you over the years keeping consistent with it and keeping the message out there and supplying great products to the people who make their living, as well as keep their homes warm and the brush cleaned up. So, and I know this week there's 2 different areas that are working hard on storm cleanup and things like that. And that's the reason why I wanted to kind of put this together, and it'll go out here pretty quick, and people can kind of see what's out there available, because a lot of people don't know.
Right.
And they don't know what's happening on the new stuff, and how to even maintain the old stuff. So that's what I'm about. I try to take care of the old stuff, and pretty soon what you get out there on new stuff, I'll be talking about is old stuff. So
yeah, probably so. I appreciate you having me here. You're obviously an old friend, and almost every single thing I know about any of this industry, about running a chainsaw, about doing anything, I learned from you. And the passion for training, I saw that from you. The passion that I have for training, I developed that with my relationship with you. So I owe you a debt of gratitude for giving me opportunities that you've given me and teaching me the things that you have. So I use them every single day and have for the last 18 years.
Well, I've always said that, training sells.
Correct.
And that gets products out there, but it's also that sales is training, isn't it? You have to teach those people who are interested in the products to be able to operate them correctly, to be satisfied with them. And that's where I know in Georgia, North Georgia anyway, you've done an excellent job. So,
well, I appreciate that. Sometimes, it's hard to get, the sales side of the business to kind of understand that those 2 functions go hand in hand. And anybody that's ever bought a product and somebody that's selling it to me just tells me about the features and benefits, but I can't see the passion that they actually use it and understand how it benefits me. When I buy something from somebody that has passion about its use, that is more powerful than somebody that can tell me, how many horsepower it has and little bells and whistles. So they do go hand in hand. And when you see somebody who believes in it, it's that belief that I know this is great because I use it, not because somebody told me that it was great.
Yeah.
So these are our latest cutting pants. These are the technical arbor. We have various cutting pants, different styles, but these are the latest. Very comfortable, stylish. We're moving everything is technical, from our pants to our chaps to our shirts to our jackets. You can wear suspenders or without. They've got the suspender loops, which makes it really easy to put them on and take them off. Very nice. More of a winter type pant though. I mean, in the summertime in these hot climates like Georgia, they're pretty uncomfortable, but otherwise very nice. I'll transition to these as it gets cooler. And then staying in line with the technical series, these are the technical wrap chaps. So once again, full wrap around the calf. Very nice tool pocket here. Well thought out with when you unbutton all of the sawdust that usually collects in your little tool pouch. It's very hard to get out. That's easy to clean out. So more wear these in the summertime due to the heat, but reflective material at the bottom, obviously high vis orange, and falls right into the look. That one of the new things that we've done over the last couple of years is we're catering to the arborist community, and so we've designed a full line of arborist supplies and accessories. A couple that I have here: nice rope bag. Can easily put 200 foot of rope in here, climbing line, rigging line, whatever you want. What I like about the bag is that the bag stands up. So when you're taking rope out and you're feeding rope back into the bag doesn't collapse. So very nice. People are really enjoying this. And then the throw cube. Very nice. Little throw cube here. Put your throw lines in. We also have multiple sizes of the throw balls. So these are really doing very well. We've got a full line of carabiners also in different shapes. So full line of arborist gear. We have climbing lines and things like that. But these are some of the items that are doing extremely well for us right now. So, and look for us to expand on these as the years go by. So this is something that we've had for a couple of years. This is known as the Flexi tool belt. We've had a tool belt for some time, but it aged out. I was seeing pictures of cutters in Europe wearing this, and I actually traded out something that I had for Olivia Egan, actually, and so she gave me this. I don't know her personally, but one of the H-team members in North America does, so he brought this back when he went on a trip to Europe. This is one of our carabiners that I just talked about. But I wear this a lot if I'm out, felling trees. It's got places for all of my wedges, 3 wedges on this side. I've got a place for files, and I've got a place for my scrunch, my tape here. I've got a pouch for a water bottle if I want to put that in there, or a paint can for marking trees. What's very nice about this is that it's modular. So if I want to, I've got an area on here where I can keep my axe or my hammer for driving wedges. But if I want to take this off and put some other type of accessory on there, I can do that. I've got my first aid kit here. So I've pretty much got anything that I need if I want to go and fell trees, or if I want to limb and buck. I've got wedges for that. And it's a lot more comfortable, kind of designed as like a backpack harness, so the weight goes on my shoulders, but also I have a hip belt that I can tighten up and cinch up, which distributes that weight evenly around my hips. So, depending on how much gear you have, it can be heavy, but it's a lot more comfortable than what we've seen in the past. So, very handy. I really like this and enjoy it. Okay, so these are some of our newest bars. This is an X-Tough Light. This is a joint venture between us and Sujihara. A lot of people know who they are. They're known for making quality products, bars, and so they've made this bar and they branded it for us. So we didn't have anything to do with the the R&D on this. This is their product, but it's branded Husqvarna. The goal here is to reduce the weight. Spend a lot of time trying to reduce weight in power heads, and most of the weights listed by the manufacturers are just power head only, but you're not going to run the saw that way. So bar and chain is how you're going to run it. This bar is almost 20% lighter than a standard lasered bar or steel bar, and so it has nice balance to it. And this is a 24-inch, so it turns out to be lighter. The package is lighter than if we have a standard 20-inch bar. and I think they look really nice. I mean, if you've got a great saw, you need to have that look. So this bar offers all of that. It's got our Husqvarna X-Cut chain on it here, but very nice. I've enjoyed using these bars. I enjoy the reduced weight. And when you get up into larger saws and you get 28, 32, 36-inch bars, the reduced weight is necessary. It only comes in 24, 28, 32, and 36 currently. We do not make this in a 20-inch. But like I say, you can run a 24 and still be lighter than a 20. So very excited about these. Then somebody that can tell me, how many horsepower it has and little bells and whistles. So they do go hand in hand. And when you see somebody who believes in it, it's that belief that I know this is great because I use it, not because somebody told me that it was great.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, folks, we appreciate you dropping by. I hope you've enjoyed this session, and we're going to put this in along the ForestApps road and also a little bit of our podcast series as well as Tim's tips. So we hope you enjoy it. Look at it at your favorite podcast outlet or YouTube. We'll be talking to you later.